Shalom, people. This is Brother Laws coming at you with another video. And we want to thank all of my new subscribers, all my old subscribers. Thank you for tuning in to my channel today. I want you, as you come in, I want you to give this video a thumbs up. I want you to subscribe. I want you to share. And I also want you to leave a comment on this video. Now we want to talk about something that's trending in the news today. We want to talk about the fires in LA. We're going to talk on that subject today. The name of this lesson is going to be Abiding in the Fire. And so we want to get right into it. And we're going to start with our scripture reading. Our first scripture reading will be coming from Numbers, the 31st chapter. And we want to start with verse 20. Numbers 31 and 20. And it says, "Purify all your raiment, and all that is made of skin, and all work of goats' hair, and all things made of wood." And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war which went to battle, "This is the ordinance of the law which the master commanded Moses. Only the gold and the silver and the brass, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that may abide the fire, ye shall make it go through the fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall be purified with the water of separation. And all that abideth not the fire, ye shall make go through the water." Now we want to go to the book of 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, starting at verse 9. Very familiar scripture. 1 Corinthians 3 and 9 says, "For we are laborers together with Yahuwah. Ye are Yahuwah's husbandry. Ye are Yahuwah's building, according to the grace of Yahuwah, which is given unto me as a wise master builder. I have laid the foundation, and another buildeth thereon. But let every man take heed how he buildeth thereon. For other foundation can no man lay than that which is laid, which is Yeshua Messiah. Now any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble. Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire. And the fire shall try every man's work, of what sort it is. If any man's work abide, which he has built thereupon, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burnt, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. Know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahuwah, and the spirit of Yahuwah dwelleth in you? If any man defile the temple of Yahuwah, him shall Yahuwah destroy. For the temple of Yahuwah is holy, which temple ye are. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahuwah. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the master knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Let no man glory in men, for all things are yours, whether Paul or Apollos or Cephas or the world or life or death or things present or things to come, all are yours. And ye are Messiahs, and Messiahs is Yahuwah. Abiding in the fire. What we got to understand is the judgment of Yah when it comes. It is a reason why Messiah in the book of Revelations was constantly warning the believers in Babylon, figuratively, to come out from among Babylon, that ye be not partaker of her sins. And what we have found in this thing called Western Christianity, or what it was called before Constantine and the other of the Japhetic peoples took the message and perverted it to what we have today. There's been this melding of the sacred and the profane till we get to what we have today, right? Where in this city of Los Angeles, which in Spanish means city of angels, we know that most of the cities in particular California, but in a lot of other places throughout the desert Southwest and California were Catholic missions. And we already know that Catholicism, the mother of harlot, has many daughters, of which this thing called Western Christianity, evangelicalism, all of this is tied up into this. And that we see this, even the city of quote unquote Hollywood was actually started as a it was supposed to have been a Christian paradise. It was supposed to have been a place that these quote unquote believers or Christians or whatever, when they came out to that area, it was supposed to be their utopia, because you understand that outside of the forest fires and stuff that happen out there, the weather is year round is pretty much perfect in the sense of you have any health issues or anything. This is of course before all the problems they had with the LA traffic, I'm saying, but outside of that, it is supposed to be in the place that you would move to if you had any health issues. And the people that moved into this area of Hollywood in these hills and everything before it really devolved into this satanic thing, it was supposed to have been some kind of paradise to them. But what we find is that this thing called Christianity, in the melding of it with the customs and the beliefs of things that were anti-Yah, but for the convenience, Christianity said, well, we gotta abide with evil. We gotta allow a certain amount of evil to be amongst us, because there's none righteous, no, not one. And therefore, if we try to let the Most High Yah purge us the way he should, then who would abide in the fire? Who would abide? But Yah said, it is necessary. It is necessary for me to allow, to send the fires to purge you, for you to not only know who amongst you is not of you, but also to purify you. In our reading in the book of Numbers 31, the people had went out to war against some of the tribes that they were coming against And when they went out to collect the spoils of war, Yah had a prerequisite that he wanted the people to go through that they was not going through. They were just going and they was flying and grabbing everything. They was grabbing the gold. They was grabbing the women. They was grabbing the children. And Yah was telling Moses, look, these people are contaminating themselves. Because when you understand the sexual practices of the Canaanites, which we made a video about that, you understand that it was all kinds of sickness and the disease and all the stuff that was going on amongst them. And Yah did not want none of that to spread. And the people was not doing it. Therefore, Yah, through Moses, told the priest Eleazar, you need to go and get those people to purify themselves. And he said, if the gold and the silver and all that stuff that you get, if it abides through the fire, if it survives through the fire, he said, then also cleanse it with the water of separation. But if it abides through the fire, then you can keep it. And Yah is saying the same thing to all you out there in the LA County. If you abide the fire and you come out, your stuff that you have, like we read in 1 Corinthians, he said the stuff that you have, if it's wood, hay, and stubble, he said it's going to burn up. He said if it's not gold, silver, precious stones, he said it's not going to abide the fire. I mean, it's going to abide the fire, but if it's not that, it's going to burn up. But you yourself shall be saved as by fire. Because we, as believers throughout the West and really throughout the whole world, have so integrated ourselves into this theme of this Western Christianity mindset that the only way that Yah can separate us is let the fires burn. But Yah had clearly communicated to me for myself, I'm just talking about for myself, that in the time that we're living in today, that my son, you must be prepared that everything that you see around you, that the home that you have, the cars that you have, the neighborhood that you live in, you got to live in such a way that as I start bringing more and more judgment upon this place, that you got to be prepared that it's all going to be wiped away, but yet you and your family shall make it through the fire, and you're going to come out. But all of the stuff that you got, if it's not gold, if it's not silver, it's not precious stones, meaning stuff that is precious to me. Now I'm talking about, he said, you got to be okay with that. Not saying that you're happy with it, but you got to be okay with that. That because this thing of this wicked world has got to, the Bible said, wicked men shall wax worse and worse. And then it talked about in the book of Revelations that as Yah started judging mankind, he said mankind would not repent of their sins, that the intensification of the judgments will get even more harsher, that those of you who are believers who have got too close to them, you have got snug to, you have forgot what he said. He that would not be willing to leave mother, father, brother, sister, wife, all that for my sake and the kingdom's sake cannot be my disciples, that somehow I gotta save those that are mine and help them to understand that they might have been on the foundation of Yeshua, but what they was building on it was not going to abide the fire. And they've been praying for me to keep the fires from coming. Oh, Yah, please, will you please turn the winds and make them go? No, Yah said, I need the fire to come so I can get you to abide in the fire. Does this story sound familiar to you? Let's go to the book of Daniel, the 3rd chapter. Because he said, I need you to abide in the fire. I need you to abide in the fire. Let's go to Daniel, the 3rd chapter. Very familiar story. Daniel 3, and we're going to start at verse 16. Now, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. Talking about when Nebuchadnezzar had made the 90-foot statue covered in gold, and he wanted, that had the image, head of gold, which he made the whole image, because when he had seen the vision, and then Daniel gave him the interpretation of the vision that the head of gold was him, but the rest of the parts of the body would be different kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar said, oh no, I'm going to make the whole statue gold, meaning that my kingdom is never going to end. He was defying Yah. And so when he did that, he wanted everybody to bow down to that 90-foot statue covered in gold when the music played. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, no, we ain't going to do it. So it was people that had seen this and went to Nebuchadnezzar, and they brought them before. Now they had been in the king's court, it seemed, maybe for a while, and some maybe kind of way that they was not, along with Daniel, required to do certain things. But in this thing, Nebuchadnezzar said, you're going to do it. I know I've been giving you a break, but you right up in here, right to the next to the power of the power. And therefore, I got to show that I got power. You and your Elohim don't have no power, and you're going to bow because you're too close to the power. Not understanding that it was Mosiah that had set him up to judge the nations anyway, but he wanted to be worshipped as a god himself. But Nebuchadnezzar did not know that he was dealing with the right ones, with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 17, if it be so, our Elohim, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. They're saying, we ain't mincing no words with you, king. We're not being careful with our words. This is the problem with us as believers in the West. We are careful with our words. Oh, we don't want those sinners to think that Yah can kill. We don't want them to think that Yah is serious. We don't want them to think that hell is hot. We don't want to preach about hell. We should be very, very, very careful when we preach about hell, because hell ain't no joke. That's why we talk about it. But we have reversed it. And we say now, because you have what you consider to be heaven here on earth, you have got so close to these unbelievers, everything, that you yourself understanding that, you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that my foundation that I am on is that of Yeshua, everything else that I'm building is stuff that's going to be burnt up in the hellfire, but I myself is going to escape. That is what is the problem. The Bible said, if the righteous scarcely make it in, what about the unbeliever and those that don't know Yah? But it has not always been that way, that the people of Yah, or at least the ones that call themselves the people of Yah, had thought that mindset. But our mindset now is of one that if I just can barely get into heaven, that's okay with me. If I just barely escape, I can do my bong and all this other kind of crazy stuff, heavenly marijuana and all this stuff that you see that they doing out there in LA and California, and not just there, but this whole nation, because this is not going to be the only time this is happening in the state of California. Not going to be the only place that this stuff. Do you see the tremendous snowstorms and stuff that's happening all over the country? That Yah is yet saying, can you abide the fire that is getting ready to come? Because I held it back too long. But my people have stuff, instructions and things and stuff that they have accumulated that cannot abide the fire. And I held it back long enough. Now I'm letting it come in and take away that which you have, which is nothing but dross and tin and needs to be burnt away anyway. And they said, we're not going to be careful with our answer to thee. verse 18. But if it, and they say he is able to deliver us. The Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego said, we are able to abide the fire. See, they was willing. They knew that they had these high positions, but they didn't care about those high positions. They said, as long as we going to survive. So their situation is different than ours. They was forced into those positions. But a lot of us here in the West, we have stepped into positions that Yah said come out from among them and be ye separate. We have not done that. And we have put ourselves in these different positions. Who is the mayor of LA right now? It's a black woman. It's a black woman. Remember what I said when I said about the woman shall be burnt with fire. Remember what I said? The woman shall be now. I will be the first one to say I really thought that Kamala Harris was going to be president of this country and that all this stuff was gonna go down. But for whatever reason, it didn't happen that way. But we still have a lot of our black women and our black men that are out here in this Babylon system as it is going down. And if you're at the helm of that when it's going down, you're going to blame and you're going to be burnt with them too. So he's giving us a warning. He's showing us this, hey, you need to get out of this stuff because it's going down. And Nebuchadnezzar, they was different. They was forced into these positions because they was a people in captivity. But look what they say in verse 18. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. They said he can deliver us, but if he choose not to and let us be killed and devoured in this, know that we still ain't gonna bow to your golden idols. And one of the things that they just recently got through with their different idols that they give out in Hollywood, they have the Emmys, they have the Golden Globes, they have the Oscars, all of them giving people what? A golden statue. Our people don't think nothing is wrong with that. The Stellar Wars, all that, getting these golden what? Statues. Walking across the red carpet, right? Red carpet is a thing of walking through somebody's blood to show that you have power over them because the life is in the blood. I contend to you that the red carpet ceremonies that Hollywood is doing is representative of the blood of Yeshua, and that they are trampling under their feet the blood of our Messiah when they're doing those Academy Awards and those award shows. They are defying Yah. They are defining his son by having you, and you that call yourself a believer and all these things that's walking across these red carpet ceremonies. You that say that the blood of Yeshua is what is cleansing you. You are counted as an unclean thing when you are walking across the red carpet. You are defying him. And the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, we will not participate in your satanic rituals. We will not bow down to get some Oscar. We will not bow down to get some Emmy or Stellar Award. We will not. Verse 19, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visions was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it would be heated, right? So he said, I'm gonna put some fire on you, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm gonna tell you that if you don't take this untested scorpion sting in your arm because I told you to, you're going to lose your retirement, you're going to lose your military job, you're going to lose your civilian job, you're going to lose your doctor's license, your nurse's license. I'm going to heat it up 7 times harder, right? And 20, and commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. These men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Now, notice that they were bound when they were cast in. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the son of Yahuwah. Then Nebuchadnezzar came forth to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Yahuwah, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes and the governors and the captains and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon whose body the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their hair singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the Elohim of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servant that trusted in him, and have changed the king's words, and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own Elohim, Yahuwah. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language shall speak anything amiss against the Elohim Yahuwah of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their house shall be made a dunghead, a hill, because there is no other Yahuwah that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Yah delivered them through the fire. They went in bound with their hands burnt. So the only thing that was burnt when they got in the fire was the thing that they had been bound with. I'm here to tell you that maybe when some of these things that is taken away from us here in the West, as y'all start bringing, maybe that's going to loose up some of our tongues to start speaking righteousness and stop being fearful to talk about the good things of Yah, to start talking about how good Yah is to those that serve him, but how his judgment will come against those that curse him. Because right now, we're not doing that. All we're saying is love, 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 love. Gain, 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 gain. Gain is godliness. Yah is love. You can do whatever right up until you get on your deathbed, and then you can call out to him. You could have been the most wickedest person in the world, but you get down to your deathbed, and no matter what, how many people you done killed, how much stuff bad you done, you just call on his name when you're on your deathbed, you'll be okay. You're gonna go in paradise and live forever. I think you just lived such a corrupt life. All you done, whatever, that's just the way it is, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Yah love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. I'm here to tell you, this is a lie. We have been praying and trying to keep back the flames of Yah's judgment, because some of the stuff that the wicked have, we want. And we have got, and now we don't want it to be taken away. And Yah said, enough is enough. I'm bringing the fire. And that which can abide the fire going to stay, and that that can't is going to be taken away. We got too much stuff. And Yah said it is time for the fires to come. Let's go to Revelations, the 8th chapter. Revelations 8 and 7. Now this is the trumpet judgment. Notice what the first judgment is. He said the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and what? Fire mingled with blood. And there was cast unto the earth. They were cast unto the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. So even y'all creations, he said, fire burning. But notice this about creation. When those fires go through, before people lived in California, that well, that's say beside the indigenous people that were living there, because they said that the indigenous people that lived in California, which by the way they said the indigenous people that lived there were the black Indians. I think they said even the name of the state California after a woman out there called Queen Khalifa or something like that. They said that she was a black Amazon queen or something out there. But they said that even they knew it was certain places that you didn't live. They're like, hey, that's not build. That we're not gonna live there because we know that in a certain time the wind's gonna come down out of the mountains. They're gonna come across the deserts, pick up all that hot, dry air, and there's no humidity in the air. That means that when a storm comes up, a lightning strike, right? It's gonna strike that tree. That tree gonna catch on fire, and it's gonna burn hundreds of acres. But it's not going to destroy the saplings. It's not going to destroy the young. It's only going to destroy the old diseased trees that need to be burnt up anyway in underbrush, and give the new grass and stuff is going to grow back up again. Because I can remember when we were young, we used to get into a lot of stuff, but me and my brothers and some others, we was playing in this field. It was overgrown with sticker briars, blackberry patches, wild grass, or whatever. Somebody was playing, I don't know who it was, but a fire was started in that field. And before it just burnt that whole field, because like I said, it was weeds, sticker briars, wild grass. It just burnt all of that. And the fire department came and they put it out. So it was a big old black patch there for a little while, but eventually you start seeing little green grass growing up, right? Because the thing of that fire burning away all them weeds, them sticker briars, all that, it gave the grass that was underneath waiting to try to come up amongst that. Once all that stuff was burnt away, then it could grow up. This is what we as believers, we got all these cares of the West around us that's choking us out. The weeds that look like grass, but are weeds choking out the real grass. All of that is choking us out. And the fires need to come and burn it away. And unfortunately, because we are in there, some of the stuff that we have is going to be burnt up, but we ourselves are going to be saved as by fire. And we're going to have a chance now that we can get all this stuff that's choking us out, be able to grow. But we have been constantly, somebody said this years ago, and it makes sense. They said when we was into the Sunday church thing, going to the church, going to the church on Sunday, they said we will all pray. How did they say it? You would, on Sunday, you would pray for rain or something to that effect or something. How did they say it? I don't know. It was some kind of thing they were saying you would do on Sunday. You would pray for crop failure or something. They said I can't. They'll come back to me. This must not be important. But I'm saying we have been choked out. It's been like that parable that Yeshua said about the sower. We have been choked out by the cares of the west of Babylon. And the fires is the thing that's going to come and burn all that worthless stuff. Remember, we are living in the time of the separating of the wheat and the tare. That time, I believe, began when Yeshua ascended. You know, I believe it's longer than a 7 year period. I believe that it started back then, because the harvesting ain't just now. The harvesting started back then. The harvesting started on the day of Pentecost, when 3,000 were added to the kingdom. That's the harvesting. But we're entering the final stages of the harvesting. And remember, part of our harvesting is to separate the wheat from the tare and the chaff. And he said, what's going to happen to the chaff? He said it's going to be gathered up and what? Burned. Right? It's going to be burned. You gotta separate. It's got to be burned. And some of us are too close to being chaff. Some of you are too close to being chaff. You understand? Because one of the things about the tares, they say it'll wrap around the shaft, but as it starts to separate, Yah is trying to separate it, and we're trying not to separate. So Yah is sending things that's gonna separate, because the believer, right? This is needful for us to go through the fires. Let's go to the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter. Malachi, the 3rd chapter. Very familiar scripture. Starting at verse 1. It says, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And the master whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his people, even the messenger of the covenant, whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the master of hosts. But who shall abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's what? Fire, and like fuller's what? Soap. Who gonna abide the fires is gonna come when he comes. Verse 3, and he shall stand as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the master an offering in righteousness. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the master, as in the days of old, and as in former years. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith the master of hosts, for I am the master. I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not what? Consumed. He said, when I come with my refiner's fire, I'm going to destroy the adulterers, the sorcerers, the false swearers, and those that oppress the house. But you don't want it. You don't want it. What is being promoted in our society in black? Criminality. And y'all said, enough of that. Enough of that. Understand what I'm saying. I understand the unfairness of some of the legal stuff that's going on in this country. I understand that, no doubt about it. Our people have been greatly affected by that. But to defy the principle of any judgment come to those that do wrong is anti-Yah. Yah is not a lawless Elohim. He said he loves justice. He loves mercy when it is needed. But a lot of stuff that we call mercy is our love of criminality. And Yah said enough of that. He said, I need to get hold to these sorcerers. I need to get hold to these adulterers. I'm going to get hold to these false swearers and these that oppress people. Why do you think the stuff is going on here over there in Africa? with all these corrupt leaders and all these things? Because he said, my people love it so. My people love it. They falling in. He's just such a handsome rascal. Why do you think now, and I made a video about it, with Ibrahim Traore standing up and doing right, trying to do right toward the people? Who do you think is the one that's trying to destroy him? It's the wicked leaders. It's the African wicked leaders trying to, because he's breaking the mold. He's breaking the mold. But the people that want to do righteous in his nation, they will give their life, and indeed they're giving their life by joining the military to fight against the terrorist threat that's in their country, because the Bible said righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. When a righteous man or woman stands up and willing to put their life on the line as him and turn the people to righteousness, then they will do it. But if they see the corruptness or whatever, and they just say, it don't make sense to stand up against wickedness, I might as well go along with it. This is what we have found here in America. Even you that call yourself believers, you have got caught up into that. You have got caught up into that. You have got caught up in, like a couple months ago, I seen this funeral where they had this rapper in Atlanta. I forgot what his name was, but whatever they called him, the king of Atlanta or whatever. And all his videos was just debaucherous and all that. But at first they had his funeral in this big church in Atlanta. I think it was Creflo Dollar. And you had this choir singing, and it was making it seem like this guy was just the most righteous. And they said that he took, either OD'd or took his life. Well, I don't know how the coroner said, but it wasn't a good way that he did. Not to mention his video was just totally debaucherous. They had him in a coffin, and during the funeral ceremony, they put a crown on this guy's head, and they said he's king. I said, this is promoting wickedness. You're saying that the way, okay, that just say the guy was just pretending in his videos to be doing some of the stuff that they said he was doing in the videos, saying he was king of Atlanta, doing all that, which I don't think. I think he actually was engaging in someone, or maybe at one time was engaging. This stuff is promoted amongst our people, so much so that you got hip hop pastors, you got criminal minded people in religion and all these different things trying to promote themselves, having some criminal swag about them. This is not of the Most High Yah. I'm telling you, Yah's got to send the fire to separate us out from this stuff, because we have taken on the persona of this. And Yah said, he said, it's no wonder, ye sons of Jacob, that you are not consumed in this. Because what did 1 Corinthians say? He said, all that you built is going to be burnt, but you yourself, you're going to barely make it in. But don't live for that to happen, because you might not even be on the foundation of Yeshua. If you thinking like that, you should not be thinking that I'm going to build with this shabby material that's going to be consumed by. You should be looking for the purified gold, the purified silver, the purified jewel. You should ask Yah to purify you. But it said you are trying to escape the fire. And Yah said you got to abide the fire, because the fires are going to come. This is why the fires have to come. Let's go to Psalms 68. We're going to Psalm 68 and verse 1. It said, to the chief musician, a psalm or song of David. Let Yah arise, let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melteth before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of Yah. But let the righteous be glad. Let them rejoice before Yah. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Sing unto Yahuwah. Sing praises to his name. exalt him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. He said, let the wicked melt at the presence of the fires of Yah, but you righteous, you rejoice and sing praises unto his name, who rideth upon the heaven, who rideth upon the clouds, in his name, Yahuwah, 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 and his son Yahshua. He said, sing praises to that name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's go to Revelations 14 and 11. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. This is talking about when Babylon has fallen. And many times when I see a lot of these disasters and they look down from space, from the International Space Station, and they say you can see the smoke rising up to what heaven. I remember when 9/11 happened, and they looked down from the International Space Station. They looked down on New York, right? Because those World Trade Centers had so much steel and concrete and stuff in them that when they fell, you could see the smoke of all that. You could see it from space. That's what I was thinking about. And they said when you see these fires in LA, you can see them from the International Space Station. The smoke of them ascending forever. Yah is trying to wake us up and say, come out from Babylon in your mind. But next, we're going to have to literally come out, because there's going to be more than just these fires that's happening in LA. It's going to be so much stuff happening. What they're really thinking is going on here in LA is that, yes, some of it could have been started by nature, but that there might be some of these criminal gangs that have come in from other countries who can't find work or don't want to find work, and they were criminals in the countries that they came from. They came into this country across the border, and they said, you know what, this is easy pickings, and that they have developed a technique where they burn the structures in these wealthy neighborhoods, and then they go in and they loot the stuff after or whatever. They're saying that could be the case. It's not definitive, but they're seeing a pattern of these things. Whatever it may be, it is still that the fire is there. The fire is proving, and so now that it started, it's a possibility that it's gonna go, from the mountains, the hills to the sea. There's a possibility that they said 9 million people are under threat warning. So it could be that the whole city of LA could have to evacuate. Who knows what's going to happen? But this is just the beginning. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. And we're getting ready to end this message. But we got to know that you got to abide in the fire. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 22nd chapter. Let's go to Ezekiel 22 and 17. It says, hold on. Ezekiel 22. I was going 17. Ezekiel 22. And we're going to start at verse 17. There we go. And it says, and the word of the master came unto me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dolls. All they are brass and tin and iron and lead in the midst of the furnace. They are even the dolls of silver. Therefore, thus saith the master Yahuwah, because ye are all become dolls, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem, as they that gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it, so will I gather you in my anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. Yea, I will gather you and blow upon you in the fire of my wrath, and ye shall be melted in the midst thereof. As silver is melted in the midst of the fire furnace, so shall ye be melted in the midst thereof. And ye shall know that I, the master, have poured out my fury upon you. And the word of the master came unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto her, Thou art the land that is not cleansed, nor rained upon in the day of indignation. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion raveling the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things that have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my law and have profaned my holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they shown difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profane among them. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls, to get dishonest gain. And her prophets have dabbed them with untempered mortar, saying vanity, and divining lies unto them, saying, Thus saith the Master Elohim, when the Master has not spoken. The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully, and I sought for a man among them that should take up the hedge and stand in the gap before me, before the land, that I should not destroy it, but I found none. Therefore have I poured out mine indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. Their own way have I recompensed unto their heads, saith the Master Elohim. Yah said, I see that that it's like when you get gold, right, in its raw form, they had to put it in that crucible and melt it and separate off all those other base metals from it, and before they can get to the pure gold. And they do it with silver also. It because the temperature is so hot, all those other ones are going to melt off, but the gold and the silver are going to abide the fire. This is what Yah said has to happen. But what we have done is just like when America started getting a lot of products from China in the mid to late 90s. I remember it used to be this department store we used to go to called Brindle's, and they had a good and Kmart too. Kmart was a pretty good place if you wanted to get gold. I'm talking about good gold, right? But then when they start bringing in Chinese products, what they started doing was you would get silver that was gold plated. Meaning, yes, silver is a precious thing, but it and gold was never meant to be together. But they would take the silver and cover it with gold. And then over time, what you see, it would that gold plated would come off, and you would see, hey man, I only got silver. And sometimes then they moved on to copper, right? And so this is what y'all saying. So you have got you don't want to distinct. You don't want the base metals to be distinguished. You don't want the higher grade metals to be distinguished from the base metals. Meaning you don't want to make a distinguish between the clean and the unclean no more. That's why what happened in the 70s when we start saying bad is good, but good is bad. You understand what I'm saying? We start hearing songs like the Angel. It was a song in the 70s. This black lady sang, I can't remember her name. They said, the angel in your arms this morning gonna be the devil in somebody else's arms tonight. We start making leeway for evil to be looked at as, hey, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. And it was not just in politics. It was not just in families, but it was also in this thing we call the Black Christian church and churches in particular, right? Not that it had not been there before, but now the veneer was coming off. The veneer was coming off. And it said, just go for what just in the corruptness. And this is what we got today. But so people look at what Kurt Franklin is doing now, but they didn't look back to what James Cleveland and the Hawkins singers was the bearers of it, or even before them, Thomas Dorsey, and then some of these other singers that are now old that we call, that was old time in gospel music. They was doing their wickedness now too. But now what has happened, it is more, it was a little bit more covered now, but now the gig is up and you see that it is just DOS. Back then it was, base and metals covered with gold to make it seem like, oh, they dressed the part, they shout and they dance or whatever, but inside it was corrupt. Now it's just corruptness. That's all it is now. Just corruptness. It was basically doing all the same thing, but they were just dressing the part, they was just talking the part, but their heart was far from it. Now the people just open with it. They said, forget all the pretense. No more pretense. Choir, we sleeping with each other, whatever, but we can sing, we got a choir robe. Now they saying, man, forget all that. Forget all that. That's just going to just twerk and dance and stuff, right? In the choir loft. I seen a video a couple of years ago where they had this choir director. She was up there. She started twerking and had the choir there. And I remember, without being long-winded, I remember when all this stuff came in with the choir marching and stuff. And I was part of a choir. Now, on the first minute, I can't sing all that good, I can make a joyful noise. But I remember I was like the president of the choir, whatever, because they're just dealing with the money and making sure that they got everything they wanted. And I remember the choir director wanted them to start doing certain kinds of moves, and I protested. I said, I don't think we need to be doing all that dipping and all that kind of stuff or whatever. I said, because that, making you think. And they was like, nah, this is what all the other choirs are doing. And next thing you know, but you know what? Now that I know what I know now, the bigger thing was even the fact that it was people that was still probably going to the club. So now they just, the whole thing is just a charade or whatever. That's why I came out from among it. I said I can't be part of that no more. And because he sent the fire. He sent the fire when he let the CV come and let a lot of these things shut down, and people that really love y'all. That was the only way they was gonna be able to break free from the church, because some people said, all them years I was going to church, when I was sat at home those couple of years during the CV and I had to read my Bible for myself, then I started to understand, man, I haven't learned nothing in this church I was been in for 20, 30 years. And then they broke away from it. Y'all had to send the fire, which the word the CV meant, corona means the fiery crown around the sun. Y'all had to send the fire. And those that abided in the fire was able to break free and understand, man, I got out there just in time. Because what happened? A lot of these churches, black churches, was telling people, hey, come on in here and get this thing in you. Yeah. Because why? Because, hey, it was DOS. It was base metals. Was not able to abide in the fire. The Most High Yah watched after me and my family. He helped us to abide through that. Helped me to make it through when I basically told my employment, hey, I want the exemption, and if I can't get the exemption, then do what you got to do. But Yah, brought us through that. So I thank him for that. And he has got me to this point in my life, and I thank him for let me go through some of the fires. Some of the fires, it burnt a lot of stuff off of me that should have been off a long time ago. But sometimes when we praying for y'all and I'm always the one saying, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I do believe in that. I don't want to have to be put in a situation that comes onto me unexpectedly. But we also have to understand as believers that the Bible does say he will make a way of escape, but he also can help you to abide up under it. And sometimes we got to be prepared to abide up under it. Sometimes we got to be prepared that we can lose everything like Job. And then when he gained back twice what he had. But of course, we know he didn't know what we know when he was going through that. He didn't know how it was going to end. He just knew, I can't curse Yah and die. I'm not going to do it. I got to stand in. I got to abide the fire of this. Even though everything that I had around me was consumed except for a few of my children and my wife. Because he didn't get a new wife like some people say he got a new wife. No, he kept the same wife. He just told her, don't act like a foolish woman. He didn't call her a fool. But she was a weaker vessel. That's a story for another day. But he was able to bear up under all of that. And so with all this stuff, like I said, that we're seeing with the thing in LA, we're seeing with the floods that we've been seeing the last couple of years that's been washing a lot of these things away, the snowstorms that have been coming in and doing a lot of things. We got to be prepared to be able to abide in the fire and make it through, because it could be that Yah said there's some things that around you, surrounding you, or in you that need to be burnt up, and we need to be willing to let the Most High Yah do what He's going to do, because He's going to do it anyway. The Bible said when you see these things, Yeshua said, when you see these things, rejoice, because you know that your redemption is near when you first believe. You understand? I'm not saying that, if you're out there in LA and somebody give you a hose and say, hey, can you help me? I ain't saying don't to say, well, this is the fire of God. No, but I'm saying if it comes down to it, they're like, hey, look, that fire is too close. Let the professionals do what they're going to do. Let's get out of here, because this stuff right here is not as important to me as it is to you. And I'm here to let you know that we got to get out of here. You understand what I'm saying? So with that, we're going to get ready to end this message. Again, it's just a lot of stuff is going to be coming out in the next couple of days. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of Christian churches that's going to get up here and they're going to lionize some of these Hollywood people like they're the best thing since sliced bread, when they should be calling out the judgment of Yah. It's not going to happen, because unfortunately, like I said, a lot of these places have DOS. Look at all these multi-million-dollar pastors that are there in LA. They're not going to, they going to make this a money grab. Now, understand, some of these movie stars out there, some of them are not doing as well as some people think they are, but it is some of them that are doing well. And I would just say this, I would tell you, don't lose no sleep on the fact on whether they're going to be able to find another place. They probably already got another place. It's just that it's a big hit for them, since some of them might have had their insurance canceled, and they would have to, dig out their deep pockets. And also there's a thought that maybe this was allowed to happen because what they're trying to do with the global warming, they want to do these 15-minute cities. There are others that talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm just going to ask you to give this video a thumbs up. I want you to subscribe, and I want you to continue to pray my strength in Yah. Be blessed.